Back at the bench, working up, approaching the middle of April, and this pandemic thing is still kind of going on, but I think my work from home is ending soon, and whoops, penguin down. And well, the penguin's got to move for safety. Put him over here. I like to stay close. I like to watch. So anyway, so I hope everyone throughout this entire pandemic and working from home and everything else, I hope you all been like taking care of business, family stuff, fun stuff, taking care of your kids, eating right, living right, exercising, doing what you can. I hope you all of those of you who hone, I hope you've been honing and absolutely mastered all of your stones and edges and got everything down pat now. Anyway, this actually has nothing to do with the video. This is just a nice blade, and it's an eye catcher, and it's pretty big. I think it's like 9/8 or something, and it's a Jerry Stark W2 steel, ground turquoise with choya, I think is what it's called, cactus. It's kind of odd looking. At first I didn't like it, but now it's growing on me. I like the blade though. The tang is like kind of straight. It doesn't have much bend in it, so that's a little unique. It's a little weird. To be honest, the first time stropping it was a little off-putting. The first shave with this was close, but it was rough, and I looped the edge. Didn't make me happy. All sorts of like crazy striations in there and stuff like that, so I rehoned it and what have you. And I think the only thing that really kind of is a downside, if you want to call it, it's like first world problems, is that like the wedge is ginormous. So this portion between the toe and the end of the wedge is like a little bigger than I like, but the fit over here isn't absolutely perfect, but nonetheless, this is a really, really good razor, man. Really good. So my first Jerry Stark, he turns out good stuff. I like that razor a lot. Anyway, so I got this Karasu out, and I got some water over here, and I got another razor, right? And oh yeah, I was working on this earlier today. This is a test blade or whatever. It's got some pitting up in the toe. I'm dumping it. I'm kind of tired of dealing with it. The pitting goes like right through the edge. I mean, there's a hole. There's literally a hole in the bevel. If I had a thin enough thread, I could like feed it right through. So I'm done with that. The scales were nice. I saved them. Nice bolsters, nice Soligen stuff, probably from the 40s. I was surprised though. This being a Soligen blade must have been real cheap because the grind is awful. Okay, it's just got waves up the wazoo. All right, so you got that and pitting. Yeah, forget about it. That goes in the circular file. This, I don't know what this is. It's been laying around here for a long time. Yeah, best quality razor. So that's a winner. And it's probably a really good razor, actually. So basically, I've been getting repeatedly, often over the years, but in the past couple of months, a lot of contact through my website and a lot of comments on my YouTube videos, which I thank everyone for. Well, everyone who posted like, normal stuff, the people who posted stupid things, like whatever. But a lot of the comments, and not comments in the videos, but a lot of my emails, personal stuff that I've been getting, questions about, Tomo Nagura and Nagura in general, and blah 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 blah. And I just did this JNAT for Dummies thing, and I wanted to do Nagura for Dummies, but it's a huge topic, and I don't think I would like do it justice because you have Mikawa Nagura in there, you have all types of stones. Like if you have an Omura, for example, which is a coarse stone, like what do you use for a Tomo on that, or is it even called a Tomo? So like that's another story. So anyway, these are some of my Nagura that are out on the bench right now. Yeah, I keep a few out usually. I hone a lot. I hone every day, right? So we put that over there. And this is like a piece I'm sorting out. It had a really nice big stone, but it split in like 3 places. So this is actually half of the thickness. It split along. See this crap here? It just ran through the stone and split. And I believe it was Ozuko. I'm not really sure. That's a corner of a stamp there. I didn't really think this was going to be good for Tomo, but it turns out it actually is really good for Tomo. But I don't like this edge, so I want to get rid of that. And whatever. I got stuff laying around all over the place. These two are kind of mainstays in my collection. So people ask me about Tomos, like how do you pick a Tomo? Why do I need a Tomo? I said, listen, why do you need a Tomo? Why do you need a JNAT? Why do you need a razor? You know, um, if you want to shave, you need a sharp instrument or tool, cut the whiskers off. And if you want to sharpen it, you need good gear to get a good edge. And you need skills to be able to get to that point. Now, JNATs rely on slurry to work for the most part. You can use the mortar only, but I don't understand that. Some people buy these. I just want it to finish only after. I don't understand that either. Okay, I'm sorry. I used to think similarly, so I'm not like looking down on people. But now that I've gotten to where I'm at, I'm like, man, I just didn't understand. Right? This is a system right here. This is a like a biosphere. Okay, it's not just a slab of shit that you just rub a piece of steel on and you get an edge. The reason that these stones are so coveted is because they are so flexible in use, but learning how to use them becomes trial and tribulation, and we use Nagura to get there. There are other Nagura for grunt work steps, but these are finishing Nagura. Now, I don't want to get too in depth with grit ratings and jump stones and like, oh, if I'm honing on a synth and I got a Norton and then listen. Right, every setup is individual, and I'm not going to get into that now because people will just get confused, and I'll probably get angry and say stuff that I don't want to, at least not right now. So basically, I'll tell you what I do, which is really all I ever do anyway. What I do, I hone a blade. If I get a blade, when I say I bevel set, it's like I just got a razor from eBay or something. Bevel set, completely set a bevel. Okay, I know there's a guy on the internet from the West Coast. He sells stones. He talks about bevel setting, but he pulls out a 5K. I don't know nothing about that. Okay, that's like the bevel was already set, and now I just have to tune it up. That's like a bevel tune-up. If you want to call that setting a bevel, you're playing semantics and you're fooling people or trying to fool people. You don't fool me. All right. When I say set a bevel, I mean I got the razor. It's not shavable. It's not shaving. There's no edge. It needs to be work. I cut new bevel faces, stem to stern, and they meet at an apex, and then I progress from there. That's me bevel setting. That's my definition. All right. And so I got that, and I do that on my Shapton 1.5K. Okay, beautiful. What do I do next? Well, sometimes I go to a Shapton 5K. Sometimes I go straight to JNet with Macau and Nagura. I mentioned them before. So if I go to the 5K, which is, when I had Choceras, it was 3K. The K is not important, okay? Shapton Pro doesn't have a 3K, so it's 1.5K. There's a 2K, but it's like a half a K down the road. It's almost pointless for me to go there, but I will use it sometimes. Majority of the time, 1.5K, go to 5K. At that point, if I've worked the snot out of that 5K, and I mean like for real, like where I hate the 5K when I'm done honing on it, I'm just like, oh man, I'm sick of this stone. I'm good. I mean, you got to work that mid-range. I got to work the mid-range. If I want my edge, that stellar edge, that like whisker squeegee edge, I got to work my mid-range. I can't hold back. I can't cut corners. I can't compromise. I'm not in this to do adequate. I'm not in this to come out with what I call a marginal AK finish, okay, that a lot of people seem to be satisfied with. And like good for them. I'm happy for them. I'm not. I want razors that like make my whiskers run and hide. All right, so I get off that 5K and I jump in and I go to maybe Tenju Majiro, post grunt work stuff, and Koma, and then I come to Tomo. Now, I could go straight to Tomo Nagura. That's a technique thing. But what I just told you, 1.5K, 5K, Tenju Majiro, Koma, Tomo, that's kind of like something I do more often than not. But I hone a lot, so there are a lot of other things going on here too. But that's a nice way to like sort of break in. Now, why have different Tomo? Well, they're all different stones. I have lots of different JNATs. I have lots of different razors. I have all types of things going on. And I know that there's like this genius who has said things. It doesn't matter what Nagura you use. I mean, I don't know. I follow people with, who are smart, not people that say stuff like that. So, like Iwasaki talks about Tomo Nagura and a friend stone and like a matching stone and the same stone. He's inferring two things. He's inferring that a Tomo Nagura that you're working with is same stone, friend stone. It's friendly with your stone. He's also inferring that there are Tomo or other Nagura that are not. I mean, you just have to like look at the whole thing. And then sort of understand. They don't come right out and say everything so linearly, right? But that's what he was talking about. So when somebody with Iwasaki's credentials, remember, he was a scientist, he was a scholar, he had multiple master's degrees, he was a metallurgist, he was a sword expert. When he talks about there being stone, Nagura, that are good for your stone, friend stone, same stone, I listen to him, not somebody whose do-rag is on too tight. So what I do is I have a lot of Nagura. And I try different combinations of things, and I learned that sometimes I can have two different Nagura and kind of get to the same place, or similar enough where it doesn't matter, but this one needs more work, that one needs less work. This is better for coming in when the edge isn't all the way there or something. So you learn that by doing and working with this stuff. But like right out of the gate, what do? Just get one, right? If you buy a stone from me, it comes with one. Right? If you buy a stone from eBay, it's probably not going to, and then people come to me and they want a stone that matches that. I have no idea your stone. I can't pick something through a photograph. You got to work with them. People are like, oh, I don't want to spend a lot of money. Well, I don't know. Collect stamps or something. If you want to use this stuff, you got to buy some things. The good news is you can use. If you bought this for $50, you can probably sell it for $60 next year. So like, don't sweat about it. Really, it's not worth it, because if you're into this for success. You're into this for results. To achieve those results, you have to have some sort of time consideration, investment, emotional, and I'm sorry to say it, you got to spend some coin. Now, you don't have to go broke. You don't have to buy like, gold-plated shit, but you need stuff that works. All right, and you have to try things to find what works for you and what doesn't, or what works better. Me, here, look at this. Let me move this out of the way for a second. Move this guy too. All right, here's some of my Tomo. All right, they don't even fit on camera. All right, this is just one box. All right, what's different about all these stones? Okay, these are like, I've had these a really long time, and these are kind of like the master box. These are more comparative than they are users. And what that means is if I'm doping out a stone, if I get a new stone, I want to start doing comparisons, or I want to check things out, right? So like, for example, this is my big ass Kita, right? This is a big, huge block of beautiful, smooth Kita. This is a very smooth stone. It's a little bit slow. It breaks down really, really, really fine, very pasty, very creamy feedback. All right. This one, oh yes, this is a type of karasu that I absolutely adore. Part of a broken stone. I don't actually use this one. I'll show you the piece I do use. It's in my box. This is a beautiful chunk of Nakayama. This is just such an amazing piece of Nakayama. Nelson got a piece of this. This is the last remaining piece, actually. This, and there might be one in the other box too. This was like super, super, super. So this one's a little grainy, and it will shift to muddy and creamy. And when you work the hell out of it, if you have the right base tone, this thing is like your best friend. It's just an amazing, you can just really take edges up into the stratosphere, really. What are the differences in the edges that I get here, all right? If I work this to death and I work this to death, I can actually push edges with this stone into a very tedious, sort of very grabby, aggressive place. This will get exceedingly fine and smooth. This will get edges exceedingly fine and smooth. Now I need a very, very hard stone. Very, very hard, right? I have to work predominantly on just the slurry from these Tomo. Right, I'll get to that in a second. This is an oddball Nakayama that I got a bunch of years ago. You see the numbers? All right, the numbers are like, I have a book with numbers and explanations and test results and so on. This has been around like forget about it. Like dinosaurs were walking down the street when I got this really, really nice piece. Again, it's kind of this type of karasu. You see the patterning in there? Bought it 2 different times from 2 different people, but when I saw the pattern, I grabbed it. I've also grabbed stones with this pattern, and it wasn't this stone. So this is one of the things that taught me that not everything that glitters is gold. This is a nice Kita also. Again, it's got the Kyoto Whetstone Association stamp. And Nakayama, I've had this like for a bazillion years also. The number 2. It's probably my second keeper, okay? Similar to the big Kita, right? This is a piece of Iramono. You can't tell from here, but when you get it wet, it gets a red blush. Super creamy, okay? Super, super creamy. This is killer for cutlery, okay? It worked great on razors too, but if I'm working on my Diva or my Nakiri, just, man, that blue steel that I have on that one blade just absolutely loves this. All right, and this is another piece of Kita in number 24. Yeah, and this again is not too dissimilar from this, okay, but it's more grainy and it's a little bit faster and it's a lot harder to get edges up or into that stratosphere because it does not have the longevity that this one does. This is still an exemplary piece of stone, but comparatively, I would have to say this is superior. All right, so that just kind of gives you like a little bit of an idea of what I pick up after using stuff for like a decade, maybe longer. I don't know at this point. Maybe it's less. Time doesn't matter. Time on the stones is what matters. I'm sure there are people who have been honing razors for a lot longer than me who have honed way fewer razors and tested, touched, worked with way fewer stones. So that whole like I've been doing it thing is just an errant statement. Yeah, so I have these 2 out. Now, you go and get yourself a stone. You got a nice stone. You get yourself a Nagura, came with it, whatever. Or you pick one out of my store and you get home. What do? Well, you got to make slurry, you know. You got to make some slurry. Get your stone a little wet. You probably can't even hear that, right? Maybe tip this stone up, right? Let me try something. Right? If I don't know if I can get a different sound to read on this mic. Hear that? All right, so right there, you're getting 3 different tonalities from your slurry making venture. All right, so that's just, doesn't mean much. It's part of the palette. Okay, it's one of the things that you pay attention to. Things can often work the way they sound. So you got some slurry. How much slurry do I have to make? Well, how much do you have to make? Don't make a whole lot right away. I will tell you that I usually do finishing work after a full hone with more slurry than probably most people. And the reason I want like a good amount of slurry is because I want a complete hit across the entire bevel. And I'm going to be putting a lot of work in. All right, J-Nats are not inherently fast. Some are faster than others, but they're not fast stones, not like a Chaucer. So you can see here, this is a good place to start. Whether or not you want to wind up using more or less slurry down the road, that's up to you. But this is kind of like the amount of slurry I would use if I was doing, maybe not just a touch-up, but if I was doing a kind of touch-up where I was starting down at Tenju and coming back up, I might use this much. If I was just doing a straight touch-up, which I got to admit, like I don't really do touch-ups, I just hone, but if I was, I would use less slurry than this. It would be what I call like kind of almost like trace. Or I would start here maybe and then dilute down. There's so many ways to go about it. But what you want, okay, what you want to really focus on with Tomo Nagura slurry is consistency. Right? See the way it dropped off? See the way it just falls off? Don't make mud. Don't make paste. You'll kill your edge. And you'd be like in my inbox crying, like, I don't understand why I can't make an edge. Or I went to go home and the edge went backwards. Two big things you can do wrong. Too much pressure at this stage and making or getting the slurry to too thick. And if you work it, it'll get thick. So you got to keep it wet. That's why I keep a spritz bottle handy. I do this at my bench for videos when I hone for myself. I usually do it in the kitchen. It's a very nice slurry to work on. Something I would like to try, though, right now. Well, you can see the slurry looks different. And there is a difference in tonality, but I don't think the phone is going to really give you enough of a sound difference for it to stand out. And again, what does that mean? It doesn't mean much, all right? This slurry is a little thicker. See how it plops off? That's how you want it. But there's definitely a difference in sound. What does it mean? It doesn't mean much. What you have to do is like learn these stones and then figure it out as you go. Now, other things to know and then other things to think about when it comes to Tomo Nagura. Wipe that off. Once I left Tomo Nagura slurry sitting on a blade, and it just destroyed my bevel. It just turned into a rusty mess. So don't do that. So anyway, things to learn and things to think about. That's not the best way to clean that off, by the way. I just don't want to like spill slurry all over the place. This Tomo is a little harder than this stone. This Tomo is a little less hard than this stone. So, the harder Tomo is going to make slurry that is predominantly base stone. The softer Tomo is going to make slurry that is predominantly from the Tomo. That said, there's always going to be a mix, and there's no way to really like sort of figure out what's up. So when you're shopping for Tomo, you know, and if the person selling like me, sometimes I know how hard something is to me. I don't know your stone. And people buy stones from other people and they're like, oh, my stone's a level 5 plus. And I'm thinking to myself, if you bought it from anybody that I've ever bought a level 5 plus stone from, it's not really level 5 plus. It's probably 5 minus 4 plus. And you can go to 3 different sellers who all use that same HCAL system and buy 1 5 plus from each of them, and they'll all be different. But for me, I know harder, softer. I can go through that whole box. I can run it down. It's not important to do so because it like wouldn't help you. Okay, I'm talking about concept here. All right, so anyway, so that's just a little bit about Tomo Nagura. I mean, I just want to like basically touch base on it. I don't want to get too, you know, into technique and use. It's just kind of like break in there, get yourself some Tomo, buy a couple. Buy a few different Tomo. You don't have to buy them all at once. In fact, it doesn't pay to buy them all at once. Buy one, just one, and learn it. Learn it. Learn what it's like to get it soaking wet before you use it. Learn, you know, with X amount of slurry or X plus 2 slurry or X or 2X slurry, and you know, try using it every way you can in every combination you can with density and strokes and everything else, and different types of blades and different types of stones if you have them, and learn the Tomo. Because once you get your handle on that, then when you get the next one, not only do you have groundwork set for like testing and learning, you also have a basis for comparison. If you're going to go out and buy 5 Tomo, I'm going to trust me, you're probably going to get confused, unless you're a seasoned user. I used to sell Tomo sets, and then I realized, beginners are buying them, and it's like there's like no way you can navigate that. I don't even bother putting them together anymore. Um, Too much work, and it's just projecting the wrong concept. Buy one, learn it, use it, let it become an extension of your hand, then buy another or a couple other, and then test and go around and around and around. And then if you find one, I like this one, I don't like that one, or I like both, and then you have the third, and I don't like that one, sell one. Don't worry about, don't let the money thing, it costs too much money, or I don't want to spend a lot of money. It's just like, I hate to say it, the only way you're gonna know whether or not you like this Tomo, or this Tomo is to buy these Tomos and try them. This is the only way. Do you need to do that? Certainly not. A lot of people just get one and roll with it, and they're happy. And you know what? That's cool. That's fine. Right? My style is a little different. My style is like get in deep, like get deep, like go way deep into the process. That's why you'll find me. I can't sleep. I get up 2:30 in the morning. Where am I? I'm in the kitchen honing with my eyes are bleeding, and I'm taking notes. Sometimes those notes are hard to read. Anyway, so like that's it, right? That's it. My little bit for April 2021. I put my pengies back out here on the thing. Oh, wait, yeah, there was one more thing. Take them out. Wanted to show you guys this. What's that, Keith? Isn't that crappy brush that you can get for $10? Yeah, it is actually. Except I put a 2-band finest knot in it. This is my third attempt at upgrading these. They're not as easy as you would think because of the way this is set up. So basically what happened was my very first one I did with a black badger nut. And the bristles stuck out like this, and for a while I didn't care, but then for a traveler I didn't want them to get dirty, so I just went at it and trimmed them, but they already had clipped in, so it didn't matter, and that was fine. But I wanted a finest knot in there, and I got another one, and I kept working with it. What happened was I had trimmed it back. I wound up trimming it too far. I had to cut this down to let the knot splay out. So now with this one, I have to be careful about how I seat it, but now it's retracted, right? And I can travel with it, and it stays kind of clean, and it's way open, so it'll dry a lot faster than something with just holes on it. And yeah, I know it's just a piece of crap brush, but if it falls, it's never going to break. And I don't know, I kind of like them. I kind of like this type of turnback. I think they're really cool. Yeah, I know it's cheap. I know it's not worth dealing with. Put it in, and there I go. I'm ready to lather up, man. Nice, good, perfect travel brush, man. I was trying a synthetic for a while. I've decided that I just don't like synthetics at all for any reason. I just don't like any of them. I've tried them all. I had custom synth knots made for me. Not into it. I like finest 2-band, so that's where I'm staying. All right. So anyway, pengies are back in the shot. Anyway, so that's it. Listen, again, Tomo Nagura, get one, try one, get a couple, try them out. See how far you can take your skills. All right, until next time, get out there, start making some slurry, get some honing done, get some learning done, and keep one thing up front always. This is just about having fun. Bottom line, we're just shaving, we're taking hair off our face. We're not saving lives, and we're not saving civilization. We're just shaving, right? So keep it simple, keep it happy, and until next time, take care. Talk to you soon.